Hey everybody, welcome to today's edition of NDD. Hope you're having a great one from wherever you may be tuning in from. And I want to begin today's show with a quick update concerning the top remaining defensive tackle left on the board in the 26 recruiting class, four-star Elijah Golden. While the Irish had been viewed as the overwhelming favorite heading into the month, the tide, no pun intended, has shifted a bit, particularly when Golden moved his initial announcement date back a few weeks ago from July 26th to August 9th. We know that. Now, the Cardinal Mooney Star is going to reveal his decision at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on that day. And while Notre Dame does remain very much in the fold, there's a trio of other schools that can't be totally eliminated. Along with Vatech and Oklahoma, Alabama is probably the program that remains the biggest threat, if you will, to Notre Dame. Conventional wisdom does obviously tell you that Golden moving his announcement back 2 weeks helps the Crimson Tide, as it does the Hokies and the Sooners. But I would put more emphasis on Alabama there, because as good as this 26 Notre Dame class is, Alabama's got some bragging rights as well. They've done a really nice job throughout the cycle. Now, the addition of the 6'4", 275-pounder is going to be a massive win for whoever lands him. And while there is a fairly large contingent who believes the Florida talent is ultimately going to go to Tuscaloosa, and he very well could, I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment. Notre Dame was the favorite for most of the cycle for a handful of reasons. First, opportunity at the position. You've got that moving forward. A match when it comes to academics. Huge. That's priority number one. And the connections made with Irish coaches. Those things just don't disappear overnight, and they certainly aren't being dismissed now, even though the young man, rightfully so, it's his call, has moved his announcement date back a couple of weeks. And the fact that he's done this only gives him more time to explore these options, think about it, which is beyond fair. He's a young kid. This is a big moment in his life. From a roster standpoint, Notre Dame, we know this, the Irish could absolutely use a big-bodied presence on the interior of the D-line. And Golden's ability to play multiple positions, given the Irish that maneuverability and versatility, is something they've looked for throughout the past couple of recruiting cycles, 25 and 26 included. Overall, while the optimism might not be as high as it was, I'll give you that, I still like Marcus Freeman's chances here on August 9th in landing what would be a really great compliment to what they've done in bringing in Tiki Ola in the middle of that defensive line in the 26 class. You talk about maybe also landing a Devin Robertson next season up the gut of your D-line in the 27 class, and you've got something going here. Total failure if you don't get Golden. No, it would be disappointing considering Notre Dame had been what seemed like the overwhelming favorite for the last couple of weeks and month plus, if you will. But because of the recruiting acumen the Irish have shown, led by Marcus Freeman, Al Washington's obviously done a nice job with that D-line. I think you have the confidence moving forward regardless of what happens here. I still do like the Irish chances very much, even though if you might pull back the confidence, I would still say it's pretty darn high, because we've seen the proof in the pudding with what Notre Dame has done on this recruiting cycle. Guys like Ian Premer, Nick Reddish stand out, Joey O'Brien as well. A lot of love thrown their way from the different programs. Ultimately, Notre Dame was able to reel them in. It's a big deal, and I still do believe that will happen with Elijah Golden. Just continuing our freshman profiles here before I'll start going down the offense and the defense for the real, if you will, quote, playmakers for the upcoming season. I'll get to most of the guys. I'm hitting most of the true freshmen here. Got all the portal guys. Anyone you have questions about and stuff, I have some hooks and friends out in South Bend, and I follow this stuff pretty closely. I mean, put it out in the comments because we want to get as much info on these guys as we can moving forward. Not to mention, I really enjoy doing it, and I think we're all going to enjoy this kid, Brandon Logan, 6 foot, 200-pound safety from just under 2 hours away in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 4-star recruit coming out of Snyder High, and Snyder's a school that produced NFL stars and two-time All-Pro safety Jesse Bates and the Hall of Famer defensive back Rod Woodson. So that's a big deal. There's some nice lineage and a nice pipeline there from Snyder into the National Football League. Now, coming out of Snyder, Logan was considered one of the top recruits in the state, and he was named a 23 All-State player, won a 5A state title during the 23-24 campaign. And most impressively, he's another one of these two-sport athletes who just completely excels in baseball, and he's going to play both at Notre Dame. And while the football accolades are spectacular, and they are, I mean, just read the numbers, The baseball ones are even better. He's a top-flight baseball recruit. Initially was previously committed to Vanderbilt, but ultimately decided to come to Notre Dame. Top 100 ball player across the country in numerous high school baseball publications. Top 3 easily in the state of Indiana. During his senior year, he hit nearly 400, 44 bases stolen, 31 runs driven in, and 7 home runs. Not to mention he plays a damn good outfield. And look, when you talk about expectations from a football perspective coming into the 25-26 season, I know this is a football-driven show, but from a baseball perspective, Logan's arrival to South Bend is huge. And for those that follow the baseball team, you know what I'm talking about. It took some time. But head coach Sean Stifler's got some really great things cooking with the Irish baseball team. They're coming off a 30-plus win campaign that included a hot stretch over the final 15-plus games of the season, a near at-large berth into the NCAA tournament, which looked virtually impossible from the middle of the season, even early on, and then they got hot, just missing out on that at-large bid with an early round loss in the ACC tournament. But the future for the baseball team is as bright as it's been in South Bend. Now, Logan, without question, is going to be a massive part of that as a smooth-hitting outfielder with a strong glove and spectacular base running skills. I just gave you a brief synopsis of that. From a football perspective now, as is the case with many freshmen, even though Marcus Freeman has shown he's never afraid to play the youngsters, and that's a good thing. That's different from the prior regime. You're looking at a developmental role here, which is a great thing, and we've said that about a couple of guys. When you take a look at the Irish safety group heading into the August 31st opener against Miami, the talent's legit. Adon Shula is going to make a massive step from a strong campaign a year ago, while the battle for the spot opposite him is going to be real intriguing. You got Ethan Long, Luke Talmadge, Tay Johnson. And Johnson has been the talk of camp and really the offseason. He's been unbelievably impressive to the tune of Chris Ash and Marcus Freeman raving about the kid. So moving forward, I think the Irish know they have a football star on their hands in Logan. A physical downhill safety. He projects as someone who's going to fit very nicely into the defensive backfield in future seasons. The skill set here that he possesses allows him to operate probably primarily as a field safety, but you could throw him in the box at nickel, which is huge. Notre Dame loves versatility. We've said that time and time again on the program. And having sort of a Swiss Army knife in that backfield, who also happens to be a stellar two-sport athlete, is something a lot of teams simply don't have to this degree. It's going to be awesome watching the development here, as it will be watching this entire freshman class of defensive backs, many of who we talked about. Johnson, obviously, Jadon Blair, Dallas Golden, Creed Thomas, and Ethan Long. I mean, this is a huge class that will really start to whet its beak coming into this upcoming season. And a lot of guys, while they may not get the minutes and the field time this year, outside of perhaps special teams roles, the future is stacked and unbelievably bright. The likes of Blair, Johnson, Golden, Thomas, Long, and Logan. Very much a big part of that. They'll be the driving force behind that Notre Dame secondary for years to come. And I just want to wrap with some of the fan commentary. 5 weeks away from the August 31st opener against the Canes, Irish Nation, we remain ready to roll. Recruiting is a hot-button topic of discussion, as is the anticipation for the 25-26 season. And I want to start with a reference to Notre Dame looking at bulking up the defensive line with either an Elijah Golden or Devin Robertson next year. At Farmhand 1471 notes that he's totally on board with sizing up on the D-line. The Irish have lacked, quote, heavyweights on the interior for a while, and it has shown on short yardage plays. It'll be a breath of fresh air to see some beef up front. I do agree. That's the goal moving forward, right? They have been quiet about that. Ola's here. You got your 26 edges with Iwatani and then, of course, Rodney Dunham. Create that depth up the middle with mobility and size to provide a complement to Ola in the 26 class. That's the goal. A get like Golden and or Robertson's going to do just that. We'll know sooner rather than later with Golden. And perhaps we're not that far away. Devin Robertson looks really good to the Dome, and we'll have to wait a little longer for that. But I don't think it's going to be this long, drawn-out process. So we could have 2 more home runs for the Irish that aren't all that far away. At Peter Hernandez is a new subscriber and says, the show remains concise, entertaining, and factual. Keep it going. I love the verbiage there, pal. I appreciate the kind words, and thank you for the support. This has obviously been beyond fun. 5 weeks away from the opener. It's jacked up as I think we all are, coming off a 14-win campaign last year. Sky the limit for this team, and I think we all really know what we have in head coach Marcus Freeman. At Joe Rudin 8144 says he hopes that I am enjoying the summer before the kids come back to school in the fall. Rock on. Thank you, Joe. I do appreciate it. I actually teach summer school until the second week of August, but the 3.5-week break that I'll get after that is more than enough. Plenty of time for some golf, more of the Notre Dame Daily Show, and of course time with my soon-to-be 3-year-old daughter. And a great point here, just to wrap up, made by Eyelash Fan in reference to Notre Dame freshman kicker Eric Schmidt, who was the punter and place kicker for his high school team last year. The comment, simply put, Craig Hentrich. That was enough to make the point. And Schmidt is likely the heir apparent to Noah Burnett as the Irish kicker next season. But with punter James Rendell moving on as well, he could possibly take on a dual role, similar to the way Hentrich did during his time in South Bend, which many of the old-timers will remember ran from 1989 through 1992. He did both. It was a 2-word comment, but a great point. With that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you all again tomorrow. We'll continue these player profiles, start getting into the impactful guys that we think will be major, major players for the 2025-26 season, which starts August 31st. Have a great day, folks. And as always, go Irish.